So this is all spawning from the gaffe. And that was the last time that Congress authorized war, and it goes back to the 80s, and it goes to your father, and it goes to the corruption in the government, just like a 2-second gaffe.
Yesterday.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, anyway. 75.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
I need a place to hide away.
Iraq, anyway.
This Freudian slip happened when he was trying to praise back the efforts in Ukraine. Never mind all the stuff we have going on at home. George W. is seeing war and is bringing back some fond memories. I think that's what happened. According to the psychoanalysis from Sigmund Freud, you can trace these slip-ups back to unconscious urges. And these can either be something one genuinely wants to say but feels that one is unable to express, or unrealized feelings that have not yet entered one's realm of conscious thought. That is basically what a Freudian slip is. It can happen a lot. It can happen to anyone. I just want to play some examples of what you could label as Freudian slips.
Again, congratulations on your big Hooters. Hoosiers win.
You said what?
Wow, that was a slip of the tongue.
The team started Portland's double penetration.
Trust me, you're going to love my one-eyed monster.
Northwest began serving peanuts this month. Georgia is the top peanut-producing state.
Here's a Black Hawk helicopter.
Tanya Mosley is live at the park where protesters are set to pinch tits.
Tickets online at Pick a Dick. Pick? Oh, no. Well, you're thinking about things. Sask Energy is announcing a proposal to jack up the cost.
Broward Sheriff's deputies arrest a man who they say has more pussy than he can handle.
Matt Boner, Tiffany Thiessen, and Tim DeKay are the stars of White Collar. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning. That would be Matt Bomer.
The Bronx section sound more likely to give her a curb job than a blow job or a block party.
He claims
there were some slips there. Some people might have had some other stuff on their mind. What did she say? Did she say something about like a bag of... What the hell did she say?
Where protesters are set to pinch tits.
Tickets online at Pick a Dick. Pick? Oh.
I don't know what she had on her mind, but that's a perfect example of a Freudian slip. She had something on her mind. And George W., he's had, I've mentioned a lot. I don't know how these people sleep at night. And he's probably had a lot on his mind. I really do think there's a reason why he said this.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, anyway. 75. Here's the in contrast.
That was cringe, yo. That was one of those moments, man. You know, the Snickers ad is like, you ever want to get away?
Thank you, Detroit. We love you. Detroit was last night.
Want to get away?
Bro was looking kind of red. Look at bro right here.
To launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
Bro is like, oops.
Iraq. Anyway.
Anyway. Oh man, that's an awkward one for those who maybe weren't following it or don't remember that we have a history with Iraq. I only know it going back to like the 80s. I remember talking about this in middle school, I believe. It was a big thing back then. This is with the father, rest in peace, George H.W. Bush. So the U.S. was backing Saddam Hussein. And they knew what he was doing. They knew he was using chemicals to attack. And you know who talks about this stuff a lot is our boy, Comic Dave Smith. And that's why in his intro, he literally talks about this in his intro. He says something to the effect of, hey, the people, you want to know who our enemies are going to be? Look at who America's funding now.
If you want to know who America's next enemy is, look at who we're funding right now.
And that's exactly what happened with Saddam Hussein. And then in comes the famous weapons of mass destruction. So when George Bush makes this line and makes this foible,
man, to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
So when he makes that Freudian slip, there's a lot of baggage with that one. That might be one of the worst of all time. Like when she said whatever that anchor said, like a bag of dicks or whatever she said.
Tickets online at Pick a Dick. Pick? Oh, no.
That's a embarrassing one, but it's just like, okay, it was just that. This one involves thousands of deaths for nothing other than America war games and resources and risk games. The big lie of weapons of mass destruction. So when he makes this Freudian slip, it's like, number one, Bush didn't really even know what was happening. Number two, this was kind of like continuing the legacy of his father. Number three, like, was Dick Cheney really the one running stuff? Or the people behind him, whether it was Halliburton or whatever else? And then we have the casualties of war. That's all packed into a 2-second gaffe. One of the worst gaffes I have ever seen. When you look at 500,000 Iraqis died in the war, a new study says. After this, so when W went in, did all this chaos, looking for the weapons of mass destruction that weren't there, that they knew weren't there, created civil war, and what was born out of the civil war? It was ISIS. He had a 2-second gaffe that encompassed everything. That's how bad it was. You can't play that off, bruh. It's not one you can say, I'm 75.
75.
You can try. I mean, he did the best he could with it. It's really bad. Didn't he say something about, like, fool me once?
In my State of the Union, or my speech to the nation, whatever you want to call it, speech to the nation. I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully. And America needs a military where our best and brightest are proud to serve.
Our breast and brightest. Did he happen to catch Timcast IRL tonight? Is that what caused that Freudian slip? I kid. Libby Evans is great. The chat was, you know what? I want to take a second and digress. For those who are in the Timcast IRL chat tonight, I do not condone your discussion. Don't go to that chat. I told Libby, don't go to the chat. I don't want her to think poorly of those who follow Tim Pool. I don't condone the jokes about milk production and somebody single-handedly solving the baby formula problem. That's not funny.
I'm proud to state If you're a single mother with 2 children, which is the toughest job in America as far as I'm concerned, and you're working hard to put food on your family, rarely is the question asked, is our children learning? Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country. See, I don't think you can be. There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
So he's known for trying to play stuff off. He's a gaffe machine, very much like Biden. I joked that we could see a Biden-Bush 2024. Wouldn't that be awesome? How about those joint press conferences? Michael Tracy kind of puts the bow on this one, says, speaking of George W. Bush in Iraq. So this is all spawning from the gaffe. Somebody tell me a gaffe that spawns 500 million lives and Congress, and that was the last time that Congress authorized war, and it goes back to the 80s, and it goes to your father, and it goes to the corruption in the government, just like a 2-second gaffe. A spawning international terrorist organization just off of a gaffe. What I'm saying is, like, that gaffe has all these branches coming off of it. Dick Cheney, who really controlled the government. His father, rest in peace. Donald Rumsfeld. Colin Powell, rest in peace. I mean, all of this encompassed in it. And then also our current president. He's in this too. He's been in DC his whole life, damn near. Speaking of this, the current president was also instrumental in bringing about the war, not just by voting on it, but using his pulpit as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to advocate for it. But today, he's got Ukraine all figured out, so don't worry about it. Let me know what you think.